Hi und herzlich willkommen hier auf pierosini.com, die Weinshow. Und heute ist wirklich eine sehr schöne Folge, denn wir haben heute einen, ja, ich sage jetzt mal, historischen Gast bei uns. Parlo un po' in tedesco, poi te lo tradurrò. Also wir sind heute hier in der Toskana, wir sind im Chianti Classico, wir sind zu Gast bei Francesco Barone Ricasoli und im Castello di Brolio. Und es ist wirklich eine spannende Sendung, denn ja, wir sind hier wirklich im Kerngebiet des Chiantis. Hier wurde Geschichte geschrieben, die wir euch gleich natürlich auch erklären werden. Aber wir werden natürlich das Interview auf Englisch halten, damit es dann auch jeder versteht. So, why don't you introduce yourself to the people and tell something about your family history or Castello di Brolio in Chianti?
Salute a tutti. Beh, in questo momento siamo proprio in English, of course.
Yes, of English, yes.
So where we are in Brolio, just below the castle, and here is the entrance, the reception of the winery. I'm in charge of managing the winery since 1993. Actually, in 1993, my family has been buying back the business after 20 years that has been a little bit difficult, I would say, for Ricasoli.
But your family history dates back to which year? Because it's not like yesterday, it's like
No,
very long.
No, of course. There is so much to say that sometimes it's difficult to decide where we have to start, you know.
Yeah.
But, well, I think that my family is representing the oldest Italian family in this business. We don't know exactly when we started to produce wine, but probably is when we were already settled here in Brolio. And that means in the 12th century, in the first half of the 12th century. Then ever since, you know, especially during the Renaissance, there were a lot of struggles between Siena and Florence. And so maybe not every vintage was produced, but nevertheless, you know, then I would say in the 17th century, a real economic business was established. I would say that in that century already wine was shipped all over Europe.
Yeah.
So in the current UK, to Amsterdam, a little bit everywhere.
You are the 32nd.
Right.
Yeah. And what is very interesting, because many people know Chianti Classico, but your Barone Bettino Ricasoli, he was the which?
Great-great-grandfather.
Okay.
So he was born in 1809, and just recently we have been celebrating the bicentenary.
Okay, because apart what he did for Italy, Risorgimento, he invented the recipe.
Correct.
For the Chianti.
Yes, he was a maniac for quality, a maniac for trying to understand which were the best grape varieties to cultivate here. Not just the best, but also the one that were really expressing the place, the soil. And so after more than 30 years of experiment, he came out writing down what is currently known as the formula, the recipe on doing the optimum Chianti. And so it's not very different from what it is now, actually, because Sangiovese was the main grape variety.
Yeah.
At that time was called Sangioveto. Historically speaking, is very correct, because Sangiovese means a little bit of everything. You know, Sangiovese Romagna, Sangiovese is produced everywhere. But Sangioveto is really Tuscan. Then a little bit of Canaiolo, that is another local red grape variety.
Yeah.
And for those wines not intended to age, so for a prompt drinking, a little bit of Malvasia Bianca. So, I mean, you have to consider that wine at that time had a different use from today. Before, wine was very much a sort of part of the daily ingredients of empowering the diet of the workers and so on. Today it's just a hedonistic drink, and so it's different function.
We're going to taste today 2 wines. We have Casa Ferro, which is a cru, or it's a single vineyard.
Casalferro, we have to explain a little bit. Casalferro has been our IGT, not a Chianti Classico, because it's not made with the majority of Sangiovese. Chianti Classico needs to have at least 80% of Sangiovese for being so. So Casalferro historically has not been made with the majority of Sangiovese, therefore is IGT, Indicazione Geografica Tipica, but it's 100% estate wine. And through the years, we have been using Sangiovese and Merlot. What we have been recently doing with the vintage 2007 instead is to, let's say, do a more in focus on working on just Merlot.
Okay.
So this is 100% Merlot, the 2007, and it's coming from the vineyard of Casalferro.
So it's the first year that you produced the Casa Ferro with 100% Merlot?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, very interesting. And the second wine will be Castello di Brolio. So I think we could start to taste, right?
Why not?
Okay. The first wine is the Casalferro 2007. 100% Merlot. Okay, let's try. So, it's for you.
Thank you.
So, can you say something about Casalferro, about the soils, the vinification, something?
Yeah, as I said, Casalferro 2007. First vintage pure Merlot, and comes after many years of studying that vineyard. It's a big vineyard, it's more than 20 hectares, planted in mid-90s, so relatively young. We are between 350 and 400 meters above the sea level. It's a perfect, ideal position. We're facing southwest. What we have been understanding, the difference between that specific Merlot and other Merlot we have in other locations of the state, we were really impressed by the character and the style of this variety. Okay. I think that the terroir of Brolio has been almost giving its own imprinting in terms of expressing the unique terroir more strongly than the typical varietal style of the Merlot. Okay. So what we are going to taste, I think, in my view, is a Merlot that doesn't taste Merlot. And this has this beautiful, in my view, you might like it or not, but it has this amazing freshness of acidity that is so typical of a Chianti Classico, and not of a Merlot. So you don't get this sweetness typical of this variety, but you have this sense of something that is almost Chiantified, and this is a word that it's a word that I like very much because it really gives the feeling of what really is this wine.
So check it. The color is like, would you say the color is like a brilliant, ruby red?
Definitely.
Yeah. So see my little fingers through. So it's not so dense, but very brilliant, very nice. It's very springs out of the glass. Yeah, it really.
Needs big Bordeaux glasses, this wine. A little bit of decanting is needed in order to breathe. So you have a lot of fruit. Correct. Still. Yes. Yeah? You have the wood. It's like very small. It's a very. It's not so overpowering. Yeah, I think nowadays
elegant,
what we are doing nowadays is to really use the oak in not overpowering the wine, in the sense to find the right balance.
Okay.
So, and actually we are also testing which is the best oak, which is the best toasting of such oaks, in order to help our Sangiovese to develop properly, harmoniously, I would say, and not to kill it or to make the wine losing the original character.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So the oak needs to be an instrument, a tool. Vinification is practically very simple. We use stainless steel.
Yeah.
In open vats, we use a small vinificator of 100 hectoliters each.
Excuse me. I know what you mean with Chiantified. It's like you have the fruit is absolutely there. You have the tannins are soft.
It seems you like it.
Yeah, I like it. And
so you probably should say something in German, because you.
Also, aber es okay, dann say in German. Also, was ich auf jeden Fall bestätigen kann, Chiantified Merlot, denn sehr volle Frucht, eine sehr gewürzige Frucht auch, der getragen wird von dieser Säure, die halt bekannt ist natürlich auch für diese Region, für Chianti, aber sehr animierend ist. Also jetzt überhaupt gar nicht störend ist, sondern den Wein wirklich nach oben bringt, wirklich auch zur Größe verleiht. Und it's still it's also very long.
Yep.
Very long finish and very good aftertaste. Yeah? It's and it don't seem like Merlot. It's really like
absolutely
Chiantified.
Yes, it's
crazy, right?
you know, it's the decision also not to write on the label Merlot. So this is you need to know a little bit Casalferro.
Okay.
So we have the Casalferro lover that has been following us, because we always thought that the marriage between Sangiovese and Merlot is very interesting, and I think this is is a step ahead. It's I think this is the last change of Casalferro. We arrived at the destination with this final 100% blend. I mean, and that is not a blend, 100% Merlot, because now has an ID. It's not just a super Tuscan, it's super wine or something. No, this is a wine that comes from that specific place, that has its own character, that is completely different from other vineyards.
Yeah. Also, Casalferro 2007, ein Wein, den ich euch auf jeden Fall ans Herz legen muss.